Hey, beautiful souls, and welcome to Around the Kitchen Table, a space for honest conversations, stories from the heart, and gentle reminders that we're all walking each other home. I'm Laura Island, mother, creative, soul-led CEO of Sacred Sister CIC, and the woman behind Wise Sacred Woman. I'm a witch with ADHD, and this podcast is where we gather to share the real, raw, and radiant parts of life. Each week, we'll explore what it means to live in rhythm with ourselves, with nature, and with one another. We'll talk about womanhood, sisterhood, creativity, leadership, spirituality, and the messy magic of being a human. So pour yourself a cuppa, get comfy, and let's meet here around the kitchen table, where stories are medicine and every voice belongs. Welcome, sister. Take a breath. Pull up a chair at the kitchen table. This is our place where our stories are shared, our hearts are heard, and we remember who we are beneath all the noise of the world. And today I want to talk to you about something ancient, something simple, and something that has the power to heal more than we can ever truly put into words. And that is the circle. I'm recording this on Wednesday afternoon because when you listen to this, I'll be in Birmingham at the NEC with our stall at the Mind Body Spirit Festival. And I was like, what am I going to record today? Like normally I kind of have something moving through me and I'm really clear on kind of what that is. And what's moving me at the moment is we're having such an amazing kind of launch of our Sacred Weavers course, which is all about sacred spaces, how we create sacred spaces in every moment, you know, how we come into what is the sacred within us. You know, how do we find it in our lives? How does it show up? How do we become more sacred? And that comes from presence. But this is kind of a preamble, really, to our full facilitator training, which is all around circle, but not just circle. You know, I say this a lot. I could teach you to hold a circle in minutes. It's not difficult. What's difficult is getting over all of the things that keep us from doing it. You know, where we've stopped talking. Before there were conferences and courses or coaching programs, there were fires. There were women sitting together, weaving baskets, tending the babies, grinding herbs, singing stories into the night. There were kitchen tables. That's exactly why this podcast is called Around the Kitchen Table, because we've lost the ability to just find a space that feels comfortable because we don't have the women to kind of meet with. So there were no roles, no titles, just women in rhythm with the earth, with the moon, and with each other. The circle was never an invention. It wasn't like somebody just went, hey, let's sit in circle, you know, let's create circles. It's not difficult to do, like I said. It doesn't have to be a business because it's a remembering, a shape that kind of reflected how life moves, round, cyclical, and alive. No one above, no one below, just hearts that beat together in sacred equality. When we look back through history, every culture has some form of circle. Moon lodges, council fires, red tents, mothers' kitchens, sewing rooms, prayer circles. The form changed, but the intention was always the same: to witness, to listen, to remember. And I think and believe in my absolute bones that we are being called right now in our generation to bring it back. Somewhere along the way, we lost the circle. We lost our place by the fire. We became busy. We're more connected now than ever. You and I are connected right now through the power of the internet. or whatever way you're viewing this, listening to this, we're connected, right? We're more connected in that we have more access to ways to connect with each other, and yet we became so busy and disconnected, independent to the point of isolation. We were taught to compete rather than connect, and to look at each other through filters of comparison and judgment instead of recognition and compassion. We were told that our worth lived in what we did, not who we are. And slowly, quietly, we stopped sitting together. This is what creates the ache that so many of us feel and can't quite name. It's not loneliness, because it's different. Loneliness is different. It's separation. It's the ache of remembering there was once a way that we belonged. We don't belong anymore. We talk so much about healing the sister wound, the mistrust, the fear, the silence between women. But healing really needs a space to land, and that space is the circle. So I encourage you to consider, when did you last just go and invite some people around, mates around to your house? Like, when? We don't go to pubs and bars anymore. You know, I remember when my dad used to come home from work. In fact, he didn't come home from work. He came home and went straight to the pub, and he got out of his truck Friday nights, and he would offload all of his week to his friends sat around in the pub. That doesn't happen anymore. Maybe it does in your life, but it definitely doesn't in most of the people's lives that I know. So we've lost that place. My mum's a hairdresser. They used to get round to hairdressers and chat over a cup of coffee, and that was their kind of effectively their circle. Most of those places don't exist in the same way anymore. So we've lost those places to land, and it can feel almost too difficult to bring them back. And then let's not forget, the thing 5 years ago where we all got pushed into separation. So why circle now? For me, I can see it. I can see that we are remembering all over the world. Women are gathering again in living rooms, gardens, online, inwards, in studios. I see it so much, partly because my social media is set up to see these things, because that's what I watch, that's what I see. I see so many amazing women's communities popping up. We're just one of many. Whether they're good or they're bad, or I don't think anything is bad, but whether they are set up for the same purpose, I don't really know that matters, as long as we're connecting. What I do struggle with a little bit is when those wounds are just perpetuated by women's spaces, where women are calling their spaces safe, in inverted commas, and yet people are coming out feeling more traumatized. I see that a lot too. I hear those stories all the time. We're lighting candles, we're speaking truth, we're crying, we're laughing, we're remembering what it means to belong. Circle is not about being spiritual or perfect. It's really about being human. It's a space where you can show up exactly as you are, messy, magical, tired, brilliant, and be witnessed without needing to fix or perform. When we gather, something ancient wakes up in the room. Our nervous systems settle. And I'm going to caveat that with eventually. Because many of us, when we first come to those places, it feels icky. It doesn't feel necessarily comfortable. Our nervous systems are a little bit on edge. What's it going to be like? I see it all the time. We invite women to our circles. Women come to our circles, they rock up. And one of the first things we do is we create a container for the circle to happen within. And that includes creating our sacred agreements with each other. And it includes hearing all voices. It includes bringing everything into the circle. And often we do that by getting people to really feel, through a little meditation, feel what they're really feeling, what's really moving them in their body, in their mind, in their soul. And many women will say they feel a bit anxious. They don't feel particularly comfortable. They're a bit nervy. They're a bit concerned. They're a bit frightened. Like, those feelings are all completely normal. So, unless you're creating a space where you're asking that of the way people in the space, don't really know how they're feeling, therefore, it's not a safe space. Safety is an inside job. What we do in our spaces is we create a container, the container actually being the masculine that holds the feminine so that we can lean into the feminine, lean into the flow. That's where our heart's open, where we remember that healing really doesn't happen alone. How many times have you done the work? I've been working in this wound, I've been doing the work, I've been in therapy, I've been in counseling, I've been done the work, and you're all good. I remember working with a woman many moons ago. She was 28, and in her words, I don't need any more therapy. I'm good, thanks. I've done all my work. I'm fixed. I'm good. I can remember thinking, oh, the wheels are going to fall off at some point, because actually we can't do that work. We can't do the work of healing, relational healing, by ourselves. We need to do it in relation with each other. And that's why circle, because we do each other, because our mothers needed it and didn't have it, because our daughters are watching and they're waiting for us to remember. So how do you begin? Because do you have to come and do a course to hold circle? Right now you might be thinking, I'd love to start a circle, but what if nobody comes? That's one of the biggest fears I hear all the time. And let me tell you, I have created so many things, sat, waited and waited and waited. And sometimes only one person shows up, but any more than me, and it's a circle. So, a circle begins with one woman deciding to light the candle anyway. You might decide that you're going to hold a circle at your home on a Friday night, or you're going to create a space at home on a Friday night for women to join you. And for the first few weeks, maybe no one comes, but you light the candle anyway. And you sit anyway. You don't need 100 people, just need a heartbeat. Start small. One friend, cup of tea, a quiet space. Gather in your kitchen, your garden, your living room. You don't need to know even what to say, because actually it's not in what you say, it's in how you listen. Maybe you might read a poem. Maybe you share how you're really feeling. Maybe you sit in silence and just breathe together. That's it. That's circle. The medicine lives in the presence, not the performance. So let it be imperfect. Let it be real. And if no one shows up the first time, remember, it is never wasted. Spirit sees the effort. The universe listens. And sometimes the first circle that you're meant to hold is with yourself. So if this stirs something in you, if your heart feels that pull, follow it. Follow it. It's exactly why I created Sacred Sister. It's exactly why the Sacred Weavers course exists. It's exactly why I have a facilitation program. It's exactly why we have the gatherings. It's not just about learning how to hold circle. It's remembering that you are the circle. It's about weaving sacred space into your life, your relationships, your home, your work. Because once a woman learns how to fully sit in presence, everything she touches begins to change. I'm going to say that again. Once a woman learns how to sit in presence, everything she touches begins to change. I can tell you a million stories from listening to the thousands and thousands and thousands of women I've listened to over my career that really says when they have someone to listen, something shifts. And when something shifts for them, it shifts for their family, it shifts for their friends, it shifts for the energetic field around them. So whether you join us at one of our free circles, whether you join us inside the sanctuary, whether you simply light a candle and start where you are, know this: you already belong. You already know how to do this. Don't get scared. There was a big campaign a while ago about getting Britain talking again. And I guess my answer to that isn't just about how we get women talking to each other, it's recognizing why we stopped in the first place. And when we can recognize why we stopped in the first place, then we can begin to heal that wound so that we can come back together. So just consider from this moment on how you bring the sacred into your life. Even washing up is sacred, right? Like you can make anything sacred by bringing your presence to it. Recognize that when you sit with women, start with a little sacred agreement. We have our sacred agreement on our website. You're very welcome to go and check that out. It's under the roots page, and it's got everything from, like, kindness and compassion and forgiveness. Those are things that we think that we can expect from each other, but perhaps we can't. And so really naming them helps to create the container. And then from there, have a little opening, a little moment of breath, a little connection with yourselves and with each other, welcoming in every voice. And then it's into the deep listening without frapping. If you haven't heard me talk about frapping before, not fixing, not rescuing, not advising, and not projecting, you are not frapping each other. You are there to listen, to create the space where another sister can really lean in. Where else do you get to do that in your life and somebody doesn't question you other than your journal? There's so much power in that moment. Because, sister, you have all the answers you're ever going to need inside of you. Every single one of them. You don't stop long enough to listen, and we don't have a mirror to share those things with and really connect in more deeply. So what would it mean for that to be the case, where you were able to truly listen? It's an honor to sit in circle with women and to listen to their stories. It's an honor. And then you may do something fun together. Sometimes there'll be a little creative moment. Sometimes there might be a little meditation. Sometimes you might read together. Sometimes you might have a little dance and a little boogie, get rid of the energy that is stored there. And then you'll come to close. And the closing for me is always about coming back to yourself. You are the most important person in your life. If you're not, you should be, because without you, the rest of it just doesn't work. So make sure that you prioritize you as well. And then make a plan of when you're going to do it again. And when you begin to really bring the sacred in every day, it shows up in all aspects of your life, and that is powerful. So as we close today, take a deep breath, feel your feet on the ground. Imagine all the women who've ever sat in circle before you, their laughter, their tears, their wisdom. You're part of that lineage now, the ones who remembered and the ones who returned. I hope that you may find your circle, and if you can't find your circle, create it. I created Sacred Sister because I couldn't find my tribe, and here you are. May you trust your voice, and may you remember that you are the medicine. You're the medicine that you need, that the people around you need, that the world needs right now. And your medicine is unique because it's you. So no more hiding. It's time, sister. It's time. Thank you for sitting around the kitchen table with me today. It feels like a short and sweet episode, but if this episode has really touched you in any way, please share it with another woman who needs to hear it. When you begin to share the power of this magic, that's when we make a big difference. And if you're sitting there thinking, I really want to do this, but I'm not sure how, then get in touch, because there are so many resources that we have. There are free resources on our website. There are courses that you can come and do, right up to the full facilitator training. If you've ever considered, holding retreats or taking a bit of a career change, if there's anything that you've wanted to really lean into, the facilitator training isn't just about circle, it's about how you show up in your life. So consider having a little look at that. It's on the website too. And until next time, keep your fire burning and your heart open. And I'll see you real soon. Laura out.